Why success feels hard. You've felt this before. Not once, not twice, but so many times that the pattern almost feels cursed. You set a goal, you get fired up, you swear this time will be different, and for a few days you're unstoppable, disciplined, focused, consistent. But then, it slips. The routine that felt solid starts to crack. The gym streak dies after 2 weeks. The business idea loses steam before it ever becomes real. The productivity system collapses the moment life gets chaotic. And suddenly your mind turns on you. Maybe I'm not cut out for this. Maybe success just isn't in my DNA. Maybe I just don't have the discipline other people seem to have. But here's the truth you've never actually been told. Your problem was never discipline. It was never motivation. It was never effort. Your problem is that you're trying to win a war using the weakest weapon available, willpower. And willpower is a terrible tool for long-term success. Today, I'm going to show you why systems beat motivation every single time, and why once you build the right system, success doesn't feel like a grind anymore. It feels automatic. But before we get into that, you need to understand something most people never learn. Successful people aren't more disciplined than you. They just stopped relying on discipline. Why willpower fails, and why you keep blaming yourself. You've been trained your whole life to think success comes from pushing harder. Force yourself. Power through. Just be disciplined. But that advice is fundamentally broken. Willpower is like a battery. You wake up with a limited charge and every decision drains it. Resisting unhealthy food, fighting distractions, forcing yourself to start tasks, making choices all day long, dealing with stress. By the end of the day, your willpower is gone, empty, dead. That's why you can say no to junk food in the morning, but order takeout at night. That's why you're sharp at 9 a.m. But scrolling mindlessly at 9 p.m., your willpower doesn't just weaken, it evaporates. And when it's gone, you default to the path of least resistance. So if your entire strategy for success depends on willpower, of course you fail. Of course you fall off. Of course you lose consistency. Not because you're weak, but because you're using an unstable resource as the foundation of your life. The shift, when you stop depending on motivation. Now, here's the part most people miss. Systems don't care if you're tired. Systems don't care if you're stressed. Systems don't care what mood you're in. Systems just run. That's what separates people who succeed from people who try. Systems, not discipline. A system is simply a repeated set of actions that produce a predictable result. No decision required, no motivation needed, no willpower involved. Just action, outcome, action, outcome, action, outcome. Let me show you what this looks like in real life. Example, why your fitness goals collapse. Most people approach fitness emotionally. They get motivated and declare, I'm going to train every day, I'm going to eat clean, this is my year. And for a few days or weeks, they do it, until life hits them. A long workday, a bad night of sleep, a stressful week. They miss one day, then another. Then the routine dies. The problem? They were deciding every day whether or not to work out. And every decision drains willpower. Someone with a system does something entirely different. They design rules that make the decision for them. Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 6 a.m., I train. Non-negotiable. That's it. No debate, no emotion, no daily decision. It's just what happens on those days. Like brushing your teeth. You don't motivate yourself to brush your teeth. You just do it because it's a system you've run since childhood. That's the power of systems. They remove the mental load. The anatomy of a strong system. A system that never fails has 3 elements. 1. Clarity. The more vague a goal is, the more willpower it requires. I'll work out this week is vague. I train MWF at 6 a.m. is clear. Vague equals willpower. Clarity equals execution. 2. Repetition. The human brain turns repeated actions into identity. The first time you do something, it's hard. The 10th time, it's easier. The 100th time, it's automatic. Repetition rewires your identity, and identity controls your actions. 3. Low friction. People don't quit because something is hard. They quit because something has unnecessary friction. Gym clothes not ready, no meal prep, phone nearby, environment full of traps. If your system is hard to start, it will die. So you remove everything that slows you down. Sleep in your gym clothes. Put your shoes by the door. Prep your meals on Sunday. Place your phone across the room. Keep your workspace ready the night before. The easier the start, the longer the system survives. What happens when you don't have systems? Without systems, every day is day one, and day one requires massive effort. Every morning you ask yourself, am I going to work out today? Should I eat clean today? Should I work on my goals? Should I focus? Each question drains your energy. Each question weakens your motivation. Each question takes you further from action. By the time you're ready to start, you're mentally exhausted, and you quit. Not because you're weak, but because you're fighting yourself every single day. With a system, there is no fight. There's continuity. You don't start from zero. You start from momentum, and momentum is everything. Systems create identity, and identity never breaks. This is the part that separates people who transform from people who try. Systems don't just build habits, they build identity, and once something becomes part of your identity, you don't need motivation to do it. The goal isn't to read a book, it's to become a reader. The goal isn't to run a marathon, it's to become a runner. The goal isn't to be productive, it's to become the kind of person who works. Identity makes the habit permanent, because if you don't do the habit, you're breaking your sense of self, and the brain hates that. Every time you follow your system, you cast a vote for the person you want to become. One workout doesn't make you fit, but a system that gets you to the gym 3 times a week for a year, that transforms you. One clean meal doesn't make you healthy, but a system that makes healthy eating the default, that rewires your body. One productive morning doesn't change your life, but a system that locks in deep work every day, that builds success. How to build a system that never breaks. You know why you lose? Because you start too big. You try to overhaul your entire life in 1 week. 1-hour workouts, perfect meals, 5 a.m., wake up, 0 distractions, total transformation, and you collapse. Because transformation isn't about intensity, it's about repeatability. So here's how you actually build a system. Step 1, start small, pathetically small. 10 minutes, 1 page, 1 habit. The goal isn't to impress anyone. The goal is to create a pattern. Step 2, remove friction ruthlessly. Prepare the environment. Set traps for your future self. Make quitting harder than starting. Step 3, track the system without judging yourself. Tracking builds identity. Identity builds consistency. Consistency builds results. Step 4, when you miss, follow the golden rule, never miss twice. Missing once is life. Missing twice is a pattern, and patterns become identity. What happens? When the system finally activates. At first, the system feels forced. You remind yourself, you push, you struggle, but then something shifts. You wake up one day and the habit no longer feels like effort. It feels like who you are. You don't make yourself work out. You train because you're the kind of person who trains. You don't force yourself to focus. You work because you're the kind of person who works. You don't try to be consistent. You simply are. And at that point, success becomes inevitable. Not because you're motivated, not because you're disciplined, not because you're special, but because your system, your structure, your identity won't allow you to fall. The final truth: motivation fades, willpower drains, discipline breaks, but systems stay. Successful people aren't superhuman. They don't have magic genetics. They're not built different. They just built systems that carried them forward while everyone else burned out. This is your turning point. Stop asking, how do I stay motivated? Start asking, what system can I build that works even when I don't want to? Because once the system is in place, success becomes your default, not your dream. Time to rise. Do not forget to